Hello and welcome to the channel. I decided to do a quick overview of some Bibles that I regularly use. And the first up, right here in the middle, is the Cambridge Emerald Text King James Version. And this is a Bible that I have used going on 13 years. It has held up very well. However, it is starting to show the wear. You can see that at some point it got some moisture, and that's caused some issues. I did have to use some repair tape down the side here because the signatures are pulling apart, and that's just a reality of what's going to happen as you use a Bible and study it daily and are in the Word reading. You can see here where from holding it when I'm doing this, and up here you can see where there is a little bit of moisture. Yes, that's just the reality. This spent time in Florida with me and traveling all over the country. And then French Morocco leather. So stiff, but functional, okay? Still flexible. It's very nice binding and lies flat. I didn't have to do a lot of breaking in, but all the way to the back of the Bible or up here at the front, I can open to Genesis and it'll lay relatively flat and stay open. And anywhere else, not an issue at all. Very readable typeface, but it's a more vintage sort. Because unfortunately this Bible is out of print, and as I've pointed out, there are some just wear and tear challenges, and the reality is I'm going to end up retiring this sooner than later. I ended up getting the Windsor from Trinitarian Bible Society. This is the King James Version, of course. And as you can see, my tabs and markers for studying, reading, and marking it out. $2 because why not? But right there you can have it, the King James Version, Old and New Testaments, and a much more modern font. Excellent readability. The paper has a slight cream color to it. This is a Youngblood printing. Let's point that out up here at the front. And right there, bound in the Netherlands by Youngblood. And I think now some of the newer ones are printed in Belarus, but don't quote me on that. I haven't researched it a lot. This one I have not done any breaking in on. It's just from the get-go, it is a lay-flat Bible, and anywhere you open it to is going to stay there perfectly. So it does what you need it to do. It is a durable, nicely bound Bible. This is the calfskin. There is a slight issue with it. You can notice that the edge right here of the cover is not quite straight on the top. The back is fine, but on the front cover, there's this slight issue. Honestly, I don't mind. It's going to have an imperfection. You know what? The text is fine. The text is perfect. That's what I care about. And at the end of the day, I got it to use. I did get it to replace my Cambridge because this one sadly is out of print. And I chose the Windsor because it is literally, look at that, the same footprint. Slightly thicker, and I mean barely, okay? Ever so slightly thicker, not a lot. But it is an excellent option, and you can find these for around the $40 to $50 range. They're doing a wonderful job of getting the word out to people that need it, and that right there is a testament that I enjoy supporting. They're printing the Bible in so many languages. They're doing some updates for French, for German, and Spanish. They're working with the Reina Valera to make sure that the people of today can read the Bible in their own language, and that's exciting. My other one here, this is the Cambridge Pitt Minion, New King James. We're not going to get into a textual discussion here. I am 100% confident that what I read is God's Word, and ultimately that is what matters. If you want to get into the TR versus critical text, be my guest, but that's not for today. This one, of course, is the Art Gilt, red under gold. I can take it or leave it, but hey, it's a nice touch. The Pitt Minion is what my great-granddad carried with him every single day to work. He did have the King James Version, and that kind of inspired me my interest. I've always liked small Bibles, but having one that is actually readable is also important. His was a goatskin and King James Version, but at that time it was the verse-by-verse layout, whereas here it's in paragraph format, and so the verse numbers are quite small and tucked in there. There's verse 17, and so your eyes are going to have to take a moment to adjust. Natural light is the best light for reading this, and realistically, the point is to have a Bible with me at all times. Not that the Windsor is too large by any means. I often have it with me, but realistically, I have a small bag, and I have a lot of things that I would love to have with me at all times, and the Pitt Minion fits in there while still allowing me to carry a notebook, some pens, and the other day-to-day essentials that I need. But my Bible is just as essential. And so with that in mind, I can fit this in the front of my bag, the one pouch on the side. This fits perfectly. Now, my great-granddad, when he carried one, he would take it, and I don't do it, but you have the flexibility to. He would roll it like this, and then he would slip it into the front inside pocket of his jacket going to work. And when he got to work, he would take it out, lay it down, and at lunchtime, he would come over, and before he ate, he would read and study the Word. And so that was a bit of an inspiration that kind of piqued my interest, and finally, I got myself a Pitt Minion and decided that I was going to put it into my everyday carry bag so that I could always have the Bible with me, be able to sit down, study, and read. Part of the reason that I chose the New King James rather than the King James, as much as I enjoy the text, I understand and read it so well. I want to be able to witness, to bring the Word to people who may not know the Lord personally. And the New King James Version offers a readability and understanding that is in our current modern language. And for me, that is important because someone who's hearing the Word on the street, they probably didn't grow up in church. They may not know the archaisms and false friends, the words that you don't know, as Brother Mark Ward would put it. And so I want to be able to read to them clearly. I want to share with them from the Bible and not just quote it. My memorization is still the King James. It is what I know the Bible in. So when I quote John 3:16 and I say, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." That right there is the King James. That's what I've memorized, that's what I know, and I love it, okay? It memorizes so well. When you hear the King James Version quoted or read, there's no question, there's no doubt. It is the Bible. People know it, and that's a beauty in and of itself. But at the end of the day, the New King James, we're still using the TR. We are still having the end of Mark, which I know that so many are worried about. We have verses 9 through 20 that some say are missing, which, again, that's a discussion for another day. But when it comes down to it, I can read, I can study. I'm reading God's Word, and I can share that with the common person on the street that may or may not know the Lord yet and doesn't necessarily have a grasp of the language of more than 400 years ago at this point. And the beauty of the King James is there, but at the end of the day, I need to meet people where they are. I want them to hear the Word, and I want them to know that it's not my words, but God's words, but in their language, read for today. So that's why I choose the Pitt Minion New King James Version. And if I'm preparing notes, if I'm studying ahead of time, I have these tabs up here at the front so I can go through, mark my layout, put it where I need it to, and know with confidence that I can remove these. You can move these around so many times with no issue, and then you find a verse and you say, you know what, this is where I need to mark. You put it right there. You can still read through it, but when you go through and you're flipping through the pages and you say, oh, I need to find that tab, initially it stays out of sight, but it's in there. You don't have to worry about it tearing up your pages. You can come over here, take another one, and you can create a lesson plan where you have your colors marking and indicating where you're going to be. If you're coordinated, like some are, and I am not, then you can use different colors to represent your starting point, your midpoint, and then take here a red one and have your end point. Whoop, let's put that so that it actually tabs out, and you can easily get from one section to the next, and then when you're done, you can very gently, very carefully peel them off, no residue, and come back up here to the front, line it up, and they stick back into place. So it's a wonderful little trick that I learned from Brother Matthew Everhard, and it's one of those things that I never imagined would be so useful, and yet I use it all the time now. And the great thing about having such a small Bible is that I can do exactly what I am right now. It's easy to hold on to, it's easy to maneuver, if you will, and yet I can hold it with one hand comfortably. It lays flat anywhere, and I don't have to fight it while I'm reading or talking, and I'm not going to drop it. There are some Bibles, like my Windsor here, that while very usable, it becomes a little weighty after a bit, and if you hold it in one place and you try, yeah, it's not going to stay up to read. So, options, there you go. Trinitarian Bible Society Windsor, the Cambridge Emerald Text, sadly out of print. If you find one and you wanted it, get it sooner than later. And of course, the venerable Pitt Minion from Cambridge as well. Goatskin, calf hide of some form, and then French Morocco. So there you have it. Wish you the best. God bless. And don't just carry the word with you. Read it daily, study, and make sure that it's clearly marked down in your heart. Cheers.